Hello friends. Let's talk about Gemini, not just the sign of the twins, but the master communicator of the zodiac, the restless innovator, the one who can sell sand in the desert and still convince you it's a bargain. When it comes to business, Gemini is a whirlwind of ideas, charm, and adaptability, an entrepreneur born with 2 phones in hand and 1,000 thoughts racing through their mind. But who exactly is Gemini in the boardroom? What drives them to take risks, charm clients, and chase opportunity like it's a living, breathing creature? Let's break down what makes this air sign such a fascinating force in the world of commerce. After watching, if you'd like to support the channel, click the Thanks button right under this video or use the donation alerts link in the description. Your support really helps me keep creating. And of course, if you enjoy the content, please give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks so much for being here. Now let's continue. The mind of a marketer, Gemini's endless curiosity. Curiosity isn't simply a Gemini trait, it's their operating system, their engine, their inner code. A Gemini in business isn't satisfied with understanding what works. They need to know why it works, how it could be done differently, and what would happen if they broke the rules completely. They are explorers of thought, wandering through industries like digital nomads, collecting fragments of innovation everywhere they go. One day, they're dissecting consumer psychology, the next, they're analyzing color trends in advertising, and by the end of the week, they've created a marketing campaign that feels like a conversation instead of a sales pitch. Their curiosity doesn't rest, it hunts. It constantly seeks stimulation, newness, and the thrill of discovery. In a meeting, a Gemini rarely stays in their lane. If the topic is cryptocurrency, they'll somehow connect it to human behavior, storytelling, and maybe even meme culture. If they're consulting on fashion marketing, they'll bring in lessons from the tech world, talking about data-driven aesthetics or viral emotional triggers. This isn't chaos, it's cross-pollination. Their mind is like a creative ecosystem, where one idea fertilizes another, leading to innovations that linear thinkers rarely stumble upon. Gemini doesn't think in straight lines, they think in constellations. Their mental agility gives them a unique edge in the marketplace. They can pivot faster than a trend changes on social media. When a new app launches, Gemini doesn't just download it, they study its tone, its interface, its viral hooks. They want to know what makes people click, share, and buy. They read between the lines, finding meaning where others see only noise. To Gemini, every conversation is data, every observation is insight, every passing moment is potential. They live in a state of constant readiness to turn curiosity into opportunity. It's this ability to see patterns before others do that makes Gemini entrepreneurs so visionary. They can connect emerging technologies with timeless human needs. They see a shift in how people communicate and instantly imagine the next business model that will ride that wave. Others might say, it's too early to tell. Gemini says, that's exactly why we should try. They sense momentum long before the metrics confirm it. They don't just react to change, they anticipate it. Think of them as idea alchemists. They transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. A casual chat at a cafe might spark a startup concept. A random headline might inspire a rebranding strategy. Even the tone of someone's complaint online can lead Gemini to invent a product that solves that exact frustration. They don't wait for lightning to strike, they build their own storms. Curiosity fuels their creativity, and creativity fuels their business instincts. Gemini entrepreneurs thrive on experimentation. They don't need a perfect plan to start, they need a spark. Once inspired, they dive headfirst, assembling prototypes, testing concepts, talking to customers, and adjusting on the fly. To them, failure isn't failure, it's feedback. Every attempt, whether it succeeds or collapses, brings them closer to mastery. They treat business like a science lab where hypotheses are constantly tested. What if is their favorite question, and let's try is their favorite answer. Because Gemini hates stagnation, they never allow themselves to be boxed into one niche for too long. They're the type to build a successful brand and then rebrand it entirely just to keep it fresh. While some people find comfort in predictability, Gemini finds inspiration in reinvention. Their curiosity demands movement, mental, emotional, and creative. It's not that they can't focus, it's that they focus on possibility itself. Their brain is wired for novelty, and boredom feels like suffocation. That's why they often have multiple projects running simultaneously. A Gemini businessperson might be consulting for a company, writing a marketing book, creating a podcast, and designing a course, all at once. They thrive under variety because every project feeds the next. The podcast gives them exposure, which builds their personal brand, which attracts clients for their business, which funds their next creative experiment. Everything interlocks like gears in a restless machine powered by curiosity. Gemini doesn't fear chaos, they understand it. They know that creativity often looks messy before it becomes brilliant. They are comfortable standing in that in-between space where uncertainty and inspiration collide. While others overthink or overanalyze, Gemini moves. They learn by doing. They adjust in real time. That's their superpower, learning through motion. In the same way a dancer finds rhythm through movement, Gemini finds clarity through experimentation. When faced with a challenge, they don't retreat into theory, they engage with it directly. If a marketing campaign fails, they don't waste weeks assigning blame. They study the analytics, talk to their audience, and try again. Their ego doesn't anchor them to mistakes, their curiosity propels them forward. That's what keeps them relevant in industries where the only constant is change. Gemini's adaptability, born from curiosity, is what allows them to evolve faster than their competitors. This mental elasticity also makes them incredible storytellers. Every experience becomes material, every observation becomes a metaphor. They can turn a dry business pitch into a narrative full of tension and release, making the audience feel something. Their curiosity about people gives them empathy, and that empathy translates into marketing that feels human. They don't sell products, they sell understanding. They don't just chase profit, they chase connection. Gemini's endless curiosity often attracts mentors, collaborators, and investors who are drawn to their energy. People want to be near someone who is always learning, always thinking, always questioning. There's a spark in Gemini's conversation that makes others feel alive, as if ideas are contagious. And they are. That's the Gemini effect. Once you interact with them, you start thinking differently too. They elevate the intellectual temperature of every room they walk into. But what's truly fascinating about Gemini's curiosity is its sincerity. They don't explore for show, they explore for the joy of understanding. When they ask questions, they genuinely listen. When they research trends, they don't just skim headlines, they dive deep into the cultural and psychological roots. They know that real marketing isn't about manipulation, it's about comprehension. You can't sell to people unless you understand what drives them, scares them, excites them, and Gemini wants to understand. Their business strategy reflects this mindset. They don't just launch products, they launch stories. They don't create brands, they create personalities. To Gemini, a company should feel alive, dynamic, conversational, and constantly evolving. They build ecosystems around engagement rather than transactions. And it works, because in today's world, curiosity isn't just an advantage, it's the foundation of relevance. Gemini's curiosity also makes them early adopters of technology. Whether it's AI, social algorithms, or blockchain, they're among the first to explore new tools and translate them into creative opportunities. They experiment not because it's trendy, but because it's fun. Learning something new stimulates them as much as closing a deal. And in that playfulness lies their greatest genius, the ability to stay forever adaptable in a marketplace that rewards flexibility. They approach business like an evolving conversation, not a static plan. That's why they rarely fear reinvention. If the world changes, they change with it, not out of necessity, but out of instinct. For Gemini, the business landscape isn't a battlefield, it's a playground of ideas. And their curiosity ensures they never stop exploring every inch of it. In the end, Gemini's endless curiosity is the reason they stand out. It's not just about being smart or witty, it's about being interested. They find fascination in everything, and that fascination fuels their innovation. Their success isn't built on one big idea but on a lifetime of small discoveries that compound over time. They're perpetual learners, and in a world that rewards those who adapt fastest, Gemini's curiosity isn't just their greatest asset, it's their legacy. The art of communication, words that win deals. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, intellect, and trade. And nowhere is this more visible than in their ability to transform language into leverage. For Gemini, words aren't just sounds. They're instruments of influence, carefully tuned to shape perception and inspire movement. Every conversation, every email, every presentation becomes an opportunity to create resonance. They understand that the true art of communication isn't about speaking the loudest, it's about speaking the most precisely. In the world of business, this linguistic agility is pure power. Gemini can walk into a boardroom full of executives and sense the unspoken dynamics within minutes. They notice body language, tone shifts, micro-reactions, the subtle cues others ignore. They adjust instantly, matching vocabulary, energy, and rhythm to whoever sits across from them. It's not manipulation, it's translation. They translate their message into the emotional dialect of their listener, ensuring understanding before persuasion even begins. To watch a Gemini in negotiation is to witness verbal choreography. They move through conversations like dancers, quick, responsive, and attuned to every beat. If the room feels tense, they break it with humor. If the tone turns analytical, they switch to logic. If emotion dominates, they become empathetic storytellers. It's this adaptive eloquence that allows them to seal deals others lose halfway through. They know the psychology of the pause, that silence, when used artfully, can be louder than words. They let the air between sentences do some of the talking. Gemini doesn't just communicate, they connect. They don't treat communication as a performance but as a shared creation. They believe dialogue is a living thing, and every word feeds it. That's why their conversations feel personal even in professional settings. A Gemini salesperson doesn't just pitch, they make the client feel seen. A Gemini CEO doesn't just motivate, they make their team feel understood. Their talent lies in finding the emotional heartbeat beneath business interactions, the human side of commerce. In an age where attention is a scarce commodity, Gemini thrives. They know that people don't buy products. They buy feelings, identities, and stories. This is why so many Geminis excel as brand storytellers, marketers, journalists, and public figures. They intuitively understand the rhythm of modern communication, that messages must be authentic, digestible, and emotionally charged. They craft words that don't just inform but ignite. Even their social media posts read like miniature TED Talks, short, punchy, and full of wit. To Gemini, selling is storytelling. They can wrap data inside narrative, statistics inside emotion, and strategy inside charm. They have a gift for turning the abstract into the relatable, for making complexity sound simple and simplicity sound brilliant. Their presentations often feel less like sales pitches and more like conversations over coffee. Audiences lean in not because they're told to, but because Gemini speaks to something deeper. The part of us that loves being surprised, delighted, and inspired. But beneath all that charisma lies a deeper talent, precision. Gemini is not reckless with words. They understand timing better than most, knowing exactly when to drop a punchline, when to slow down for emphasis, and when to end with silence. They treat conversation like jazz, structured improvisation. Each pause, each change in tone, each carefully chosen metaphor is deliberate. It's how they build rhythm in speech, how they keep attention from wandering. They know words aren't just tools, they're instruments, and timing is everything. Many Geminis become phenomenal writers because they think like editors while speaking like poets. They instinctively trim the excess, shape the narrative, and emphasize what matters. Their messages are tight but musical, persuasive yet conversational. When they write an email, it doesn't read like a transaction, it reads like a connection. When they present an idea, they don't bombard their audience with facts, they guide them to revelation. It's subtle leadership through language. In business leadership, this communication mastery becomes their greatest asset. A Gemini CEO doesn't just issue directives, they build momentum through words. They rally teams with slogans that stick. They redefine company missions in a way that makes everyone feel part of something grand. When they speak, people remember not just what was said, but how they felt when they heard it. That emotional imprint is what turns Gemini leaders into cultural architects. The secret to Gemini's communication genius lies in their duality, the twin nature of Mercury's influence. They can be both rational and emotional, formal and playful, direct and poetic. This duality allows them to navigate different communication climates effortlessly. They can charm in casual conversations and command authority in corporate discussions. It's this chameleon-like adaptability that makes them invaluable in PR, marketing, diplomacy, and negotiations. They don't force connection, they become connection. Gemini's humor also plays a crucial role. They understand the disarming power of laughter. A well-timed quip can turn tension into trust. It's not comedy for its own sake, it's strategic warmth. Humor is Gemini's bridge to authenticity. It humanizes them, lowers defenses, and opens doors. People do business with those they like, and Gemini's wit makes them deeply likable without ever seeming forced. Their mastery of language extends beyond speech. Gemini communicates through visuals, gestures, even silence. They know that body language speaks louder than any slogan. They instinctively align tone with gesture, ensuring that their entire presence communicates confidence, clarity, and charisma. In a presentation, they don't just talk about an idea, they embody it. Every movement, every look reinforces their message. Gemini's communication style also evolves with the medium. Give them a microphone, and they'll captivate a live audience. Hand them a smartphone, and they'll craft viral posts that resonate globally. They are natural digital natives, understanding that tone must shift between platforms, that what works in a boardroom differs from what works on TikTok or LinkedIn. They instinctively adapt their storytelling style to fit the stage, which makes them modern communicators in the truest sense. This ability to shape language and tone is deeply tied to empathy. Gemini listens before they speak, truly listens. They pick up emotional cues, unspoken needs, and subtle discomforts. Their responses feel tailor-made because they are. In business, this creates trust. Clients, colleagues, and audiences feel genuinely heard, and when people feel heard, they open up. Gemini builds rapport not through persuasion but through presence. That's why, when a Gemini talks, people rarely feel sold to. They feel engaged, they feel enlightened, they feel that their ideas are being expanded, not overpowered. That's the beauty of Mercury's influence. Communication is collaboration. Gemini isn't trying to win conversations, they're trying to elevate them. Even in written communication, Gemini's magic persists. They can turn a proposal into a narrative, an instruction manual into a page-turner, a company memo into a manifesto. Their writing has flow, wit, and rhythm. It feels alive. They don't write to impress, they write to connect. Their words aren't decorations, they're bridges. This natural eloquence also explains why so many Gemini individuals find success as journalists, advertisers, and content creators. They understand the anatomy of attention, how to hook it, hold it, and guide it toward action. They know that in an oversaturated world, clarity is charisma. They speak with energy, but they also know the quiet power of precision. In marketing, this is priceless. Ultimately, Gemini's mastery of communication is more than talent, it's a philosophy. They believe that words create worlds, that every phrase shapes perception, every tone builds trust, and every story has the power to change minds. They treat communication not as a soft skill, but as the backbone of influence. It's how they lead, how they sell, how they inspire. In business, their currency is connection, and they spend it wisely. Gemini knows that every great deal starts not with numbers, but with words, the kind that make people feel. They understand that persuasion without empathy is manipulation, but persuasion with empathy is leadership. And that's where they shine, not in talking the most, but in saying exactly what needs to be said, exactly when it matters most. Adaptability, the twin that never breaks. Markets shift, Algorithms change. Trends vanish overnight. What feels like chaos to others feels like opportunity to Gemini. They are the shapeshifters of business, the natural-born adapters who can thrive in flux and uncertainty. While many see disruption as a threat, Gemini sees it as an invitation, a challenge to reinvent, to evolve, to dance with the unknown. Adaptability isn't a learned skill for them. It's an instinct, a biological response to the speed of change. Gemini understands that in business, survival belongs not to the strongest or even the smartest, but to the most flexible. They live in constant motion, not because they're restless, but because they intuitively understand that stagnation is death. When a system stops evolving, it starts decaying, and Gemini refuses to decay. They're like wind, ungraspable, unpredictable, yet always in motion. They flow around obstacles rather than crash into them. To confine a Gemini to a single idea, role, or path is like trying to bottle the breeze. It may stay for a moment, but it was never meant to be contained. In practical business terms, this adaptability manifests as rapid iteration. When a product fails, Gemini doesn't waste time licking wounds. They dissect, analyze, and rebuild. When a marketing campaign flops, they don't blame the market, they rewrite the narrative. They see failure as raw material, not a dead end. Their superpower lies in reframing, the ability to look at the same situation from 10 different angles until a new path emerges. Where others see loss, Gemini sees lessons. Where others stop, they shift. In the volatile world of startups, this trait is pure gold. A Gemini founder doesn't panic when an investor backs out or a product underperforms. They pivot. They find another niche, another audience, another way to tell the story. Their businesses often look entirely different after a few years, not because they failed, but because they evolved. They are the entrepreneurs who ride the wave of innovation instead of fighting against it. To Gemini, every market shift is a message: adapt or be forgotten. They always choose the former. Their adaptability also makes them cultural chameleons. Gemini can walk into a boardroom in Tokyo and intuitively adjust to Japanese business etiquette, then fly to New York the next day and blend seamlessly into the fast-talking, deal-making energy of Wall Street. They have an intuitive understanding of social codes, and they shift tone, pace, and approach accordingly. It's not performance, it's empathy in motion. They meet people where they are, which makes them extraordinarily effective leaders, negotiators, and collaborators in global environments. Gemini doesn't just adapt to people, they adapt to systems. When technology evolves, they don't resist, they explore. When AI enters the market, they're not afraid of losing jobs, they're learning how to leverage it. Their curiosity keeps them ahead of obsolescence. In the digital world, where industries transform overnight, Gemini's comfort with experimentation becomes a weapon. They are the first to adopt new platforms, master new tools, and decode new algorithms. They aren't nostalgic for how things used to be. They're too busy building what comes next. Their flexibility also applies to mindset. While many professionals attach their identity to titles or industries, Gemini attaches theirs to the process of learning. They don't need a fixed label, marketer, founder, strategist, because they can be all of them, depending on what the moment demands. That psychological flexibility allows them to reinvent themselves over and over again. When one door closes, Gemini doesn't knock twice, they simply build another door. And sometimes, they turn it into an entire company. This mental elasticity makes them resilient under pressure. When others crumble under uncertainty, Gemini thrives. Change energizes them. It's not that they enjoy chaos, it's that they understand how to use it. Like wind turning a turbine, Gemini converts movement into momentum. They can navigate layoffs, market crashes, or social shifts with uncanny grace because they don't cling to static definitions of success. They know success itself is dynamic, and they're willing to reshape it as the world reshapes itself. Their adaptability also gives them an edge in leadership. Gemini leaders are not dictators, they're facilitators. They listen, absorb, and recalibrate in real time. If a strategy isn't working, they pivot. If a team dynamic changes, they restructure communication. They're not afraid to say, "We tried it, it didn't work," let's find what does. That humility is rare in leadership, but for Gemini, it's not humility, it's logic. They see adaptation not as weakness but as wisdom. When faced with disruption, Gemini doesn't freeze, they flow. They understand that adaptability isn't about reacting quickly, but about staying centered amid motion. It's about being fluid, not frantic. They maintain clarity even when direction changes. It's this poise in chaos that makes Gemini a natural strategist. While competitors scramble to copy trends, Gemini is already several moves ahead, anticipating the next shift. Their instinctive sense of timing, when to pivot, when to pause, gives them a rhythm that syncs perfectly with the pulse of modern business. Gemini's relationship with change is almost romantic. They flirt with the unknown. They chase newness the way others chase comfort. They are drawn to transformation like moths to light, except they don't burn, they illuminate. Their entire worldview is based on evolution. They don't believe in settling down in the professional sense. They believe in growing outward, expanding through experience. To them, success isn't a destination, it's motion sustained. In industries like technology, media, and marketing, where the landscape evolves daily, Gemini doesn't just survive, they dominate. Their minds operate like adaptive algorithms, constantly updating based on feedback. They test, tweak, and transform at a speed that others can't match. They thrive in ambiguity, where there are no clear answers, only experiments waiting to be run. For Gemini, business is a living organism, and adaptability is its heartbeat. Their adaptability also makes them exceptional collaborators. They can fit into any team, department, or partnership because they read the energy of their environment and adjust accordingly. In one project, they can be the visionary idea generator. In another, the diplomatic communicator. They wear roles lightly, shifting between them with grace. This flexibility allows them to bridge gaps between departments, between creative and technical minds, between management and innovation. They're the connective tissue in organizations that would otherwise fragment under pressure. Gemini's adaptability isn't limited to external shifts, it's deeply internal. They constantly adapt their own beliefs, habits, and strategies. They are self-editors, unafraid to outgrow their past selves. This internal evolution keeps them relevant, humble, and open-minded. They don't cling to who they used to be. They reinvent themselves before the world asks them to. And that proactive evolution is what keeps them eternally ahead of the curve. Even when others see volatility as risk, Gemini sees it as rhythm. Change doesn't destabilize them, it defines them. They find consistency not in structure, but in motion. That's why they're often drawn to freelance careers, startups, or creative industries that demand constant reinvention. Routine drains them, evolution feeds them. They're at their best when things are shifting, when new challenges arise, when they're forced to think fast and adapt faster. Gemini's adaptability is also emotional. They can manage the psychological toll of change better than most. They're not sentimental about what's gone, they're curious about what's coming. This emotional agility makes them resilient in times of uncertainty. While others dwell on what's been lost, Gemini focuses on what can be created. That's why they recover from professional setbacks with astonishing speed. They don't just bounce back, they bounce forward. To be Gemini in business is to embody transformation itself. They don't resist the future, they become it. They absorb, adapt, and evolve in cycles of perpetual motion. Every trend they encounter becomes either a lesson or a launchpad. They move with the same energy as innovation itself, unpredictable, flexible, and unstoppable. Their adaptability isn't reactive, it's visionary. They don't wait for change to happen, they initiate it. In a world addicted to stability, Gemini reminds us that true strength lies in flexibility. The twin that never breaks doesn't survive because they stand still. They survive because they bend, twist, and flow. Like the wind, they can't be trapped, only followed. And for those trying to keep up with them, the lesson is simple: evolve constantly, or risk being left behind. Gemini doesn't just adapt to change, they create the new conditions everyone else must adapt to next. The shadow side, when restlessness becomes chaos. Every strength has its shadow, and for Gemini, that shadow stretches long. The same dazzling curiosity that propels them forward can, without grounding, splinter into 1,000 directions. Their mind, quick, bright, and endlessly alive, becomes like a sky full of shooting stars, spectacular but fleeting. When Gemini's restlessness takes over, their brilliance can fragment into chaos. The momentum that once drove innovation begins to scatter, and the energy that could have built an empire diffuses into unfinished projects and lost opportunities. Gemini's superpower is movement, but unchecked, that movement becomes drift. They may start 5 ventures before breakfast, each one promising and exciting, but their attention spans flicker before the first milestone is reached. What begins as ambition can dissolve into noise. They are masters of initiation but sometimes strangers to completion. Their notebooks are filled with plans that could change industries, yet many never leave the brainstorming stage. The problem isn't lack of talent or passion, it's the absence of anchoring. In business, this shadow manifests subtly at first. A Gemini leader might begin a project with infectious enthusiasm, inspiring everyone around them. The meetings are electric, ideas flying, creativity exploding. But as the novelty wears off, their focus drifts elsewhere. They chase the next thrill, the next what if. Suddenly, the once brilliant campaign loses direction, deadlines slip, and their team is left managing the aftermath of brilliance turned instability. What was supposed to be innovation becomes improvisation without a script. The challenge for Gemini lies in consistency. Their mercurial nature thrives on discovery, not discipline. Repetition feels like suffocation, and structure can seem like a cage. Yet without some framework, their genius risks self-destruction. In teams, this can be both inspiring and maddening. Colleagues love their spark, the way they light up a room, ignite discussions, and make the impossible seem inevitable. But when that spark burns too fast, it leaves ashes of unfulfilled potential. Gemini leaders can ignite passion but forget to tend the fire they started. This pattern can bleed into every part of their professional life. Financially, Gemini's restlessness often appears as impulsivity. They might make bold, high-risk investments based on intuition rather than research, or jump into new ventures simply because they feel exciting. They'll abandon stable, lucrative opportunities for the promise of something new, not because the old path failed, but because it became predictable. Predictability is Gemini's kryptonite. The irony, of course, is that their need for constant change can sometimes sabotage the very success they're chasing. For all their intelligence, Gemini can underestimate the cost of inconsistency. Each new idea comes with energy, but also with responsibility, and the follow-through required to see it bloom. When they spread themselves too thin, their effectiveness drops. Their to-do list becomes a graveyard of half-executed brilliance. And because Gemini thrives on momentum, stagnation, even momentary, can trigger anxiety. To escape that discomfort, they start something new, repeating the cycle. Their restlessness becomes both a refuge and a trap. In relationships and teams, this shadow energy can create turbulence. Partners may feel dizzy keeping up with Gemini's pace. One week, they're all in. The next, they're detached, mentally chasing another horizon. For collaborators who crave stability, this can feel like betrayal. Gemini doesn't mean to let people down, they simply get pulled by the gravitational force of curiosity. The challenge isn't lack of care, it's the inability to stay tethered when the next idea calls louder than the current one. Their mental quickness, which makes them magnetic, can also lead to burnout. The Gemini brain rarely rests. They juggle conversations, projects, and possibilities all at once, often underestimating their own limits. They thrive in chaos, until chaos consumes them. Their adaptability turns into overextension. Deadlines collide, details slip, and suddenly they find themselves overwhelmed, frustrated that their productivity can't keep up with their imagination. The fatigue that follows isn't physical, it's existential. They start questioning their direction, their purpose, even their worth. For Gemini, grounding is not optional, it's salvation. They must learn the discipline of stillness, the art of completion. A project finished imperfectly holds more power than 10 perfect ideas that never see daylight. The key lies in structure, not as confinement, but as a creative container. Lists, calendars, accountability partners, these may feel foreign to a Gemini spirit, but they're essential tools for transforming brilliance into tangible results. Without them, ideas remain air, and even the wind needs resistance to create shape. Surrounding themselves with grounded, detail-oriented partners can be transformative. A Capricorn business manager, a Virgo strategist, or a Taurus co-founder can balance Gemini's volatility. These partners act as anchors, not to restrict them, but to stabilize their flight path. With the right team, Gemini's restlessness turns from chaos into momentum. Their speed becomes strength, their curiosity becomes innovation, and their adaptability finds direction. The deeper danger of Gemini's shadow lies not just in distraction, but in dissatisfaction. Because they see endless possibilities, they struggle to commit to one. Every choice feels like a limitation. They fear missing out on what's next, so they hesitate to plant roots in the now. This fear of finishing can prevent them from reaping the rewards of their own genius. They are forever standing at the edge of multiple doors, afraid to close any. Yet mastery demands focus, and freedom often hides behind the discipline they resist. When Gemini's restlessness becomes chronic, it can erode confidence. The uncompleted projects, the unfulfilled promises, the constant resets, they begin to feel like patterns of failure. But this isn't incompetence, it's fragmentation. Their brilliance is being scattered instead of directed. The remedy isn't to suppress curiosity but to organize it. They must learn to channel their mental energy into phases: ideation, creation, completion. Each stage demands a different rhythm, and Gemini must train themselves to dance to all three. Emotional awareness also plays a role. Restlessness is often a symptom of avoidance, avoiding discomfort, boredom, or fear of imperfection. For Gemini, slowing down can feel like losing momentum, but in truth, it's the only way to sustain it. Reflection doesn't dull their edge, it sharpens it. When they learn to pause, evaluate, and refine, they transform from scattershot thinkers into strategic visionaries. Their chaos becomes choreography. In the broader sense, Gemini's shadow teaches an important lesson: movement without intention is noise. The same restless energy that fuels their success can also lead them astray if it isn't aligned with purpose. They must constantly ask, why am I moving? Toward what? Without those questions, Gemini risks running endlessly without arriving anywhere. With them, every pivot, every change, every burst of curiosity becomes a step toward something meaningful. It's worth remembering that Gemini's chaos isn't inherently bad. It's creative energy in its rawest form, volcanic, volatile, and full of potential. But like any force of nature, it needs direction. Without structure, it burns out. With structure, it lights up entire industries. The goal isn't to tame the wind, but to give it turbines. When Gemini learns that balance, their restlessness becomes renewal rather than destruction. Ultimately, the shadow side of Gemini isn't a flaw, it's a reminder of their humanity. Even the most brilliant minds need grounding. Even the fastest thinkers need stillness. The challenge of Gemini's chaos is learning to master the rhythm of both movement and pause. Because when they do, when they finally learn to harness their whirlwind instead of being consumed by it, they become unstoppable, not as dreamers scattered by the wind, but as creators who are the wind, moving with purpose, power, and precision. The best zodiac signs for business with Gemini. Gemini's brilliance thrives in motion, in collaboration, conversation, and creativity. But while they can light up any room with their ideas, the key to transforming that spark into sustainable success often lies in who stands beside them. Gemini works best with partners who can translate their quicksilver thinking into action, those who bring focus where Gemini brings imagination, and form where Gemini brings flow. In business, their partnerships become less about hierarchy and more about harmony, a symphony of complementary strengths. When Gemini finds the right collaborator, their potential multiplies, and entire industries can shift under the power of their joint energy. The signs that align most naturally with Gemini tend to share their air-like nature: fluid, open-minded, and intellectually driven. Yet, the magic happens when that airy curiosity meets balance, when the free thinker meets the strategist, the talker meets the doer, and the dreamer meets the builder. These partnerships don't just coexist, they elevate each other. They transform Gemini's whirlwind of ideas into empires of influence. Libra is perhaps the most seamless match for Gemini in business. Both are ruled by air, light, communicative, relational, but where Gemini brings movement, Libra brings measure. Libra understands the art of balance better than anyone. They can see both sides of every situation and turn potential conflict into productive conversation. While Gemini generates a storm of ideas, Libra curates them, prioritizing the ones that align with strategy, timing, and market resonance. Together, they create ventures that are not only innovative but aesthetically and ethically appealing. Libra refines Gemini's spontaneity into sophistication, while Gemini keeps Libra from overanalyzing into paralysis. In branding, public relations, fashion, or media, this duo can create something not just successful but beautifully influential. Libra ensures the message feels harmonious, Gemini ensures it never feels boring. It's charm with purpose, persuasion with poise. Then there's Aquarius, the visionary disruptor. If Gemini is the storyteller, Aquarius is the inventor. Together, they don't just follow trends, they build them. Aquarius thrives on innovation and idealism, constantly seeking to change the world for the better. Gemini, ever the communicator, knows how to translate those big, sometimes abstract ideas into messages that resonate with the masses. This is a partnership of intellect and inspiration, the kind that births startups, movements, and revolutions. Aquarius brings depth, Gemini brings versatility. Aquarius dreams in systems, Gemini dreams in stories. They challenge each other in the best way. Aquarius grounds Gemini's restlessness in purpose, while Gemini teaches Aquarius to make their vision accessible and exciting. When they collaborate, industries tremble. They're not just creating products or campaigns, they're redefining what's possible. Now enter Aries, the fire to Gemini's air. This partnership is pure dynamism. Aries acts first and thinks later, Gemini thinks fast and talks faster. Together, they form a cycle of motion that's hard to stop. Aries brings courage, drive, and an instinct for action. Gemini brings agility, wit, and communication mastery. Aries launches, Gemini amplifies. Aries breaks barriers, Gemini tells the story so the world takes notice. In startups, marketing, or entertainment, this duo is unstoppable, a force of speed and charisma. Yet, what makes them truly powerful is how they balance each other's impulses. When Aries gets too aggressive, Gemini softens the approach with charm and tact. When Gemini gets too distracted, Aries refocuses the mission through sheer willpower. They teach each other the balance between force and finesse, making them an entrepreneurial dream team. Then there's Leo, the radiant performer who mirrors Gemini's love for attention but channels it through confidence and presence. If Gemini is the voice, Leo is the face. Together, they can dominate industries that rely on personality, flair, and storytelling, entertainment, fashion, social media, public relations. Leo brings passion, boldness, and creative leadership. Gemini adds adaptability, humor, and intellectual spark. Their collaboration feels like showmanship turned strategy. Leo gives Gemini's ideas a stage, Gemini gives Leo's charisma a message. They thrive in the spotlight not for vanity, but for impact, because both understand that in the modern business world, attention is currency. Yet, it's not all surface. Leo's loyalty and heart bring stability to Gemini's ever-changing moods, while Gemini keeps Leo's ego in check with wit and perspective. Together, they're magnetic, confident yet clever, bold yet balanced. What unites these partnerships, Libra, Aquarius, Aries, and Leo, is their ability to engage with Gemini's energy rather than resist it. Each provides something Gemini lacks, but in a way that still honors their essence. Libra provides diplomacy and structure, teaching Gemini that conversation is most powerful when it's intentional. Aquarius provides vision and innovation, reminding Gemini that communication becomes transformative when it's tied to purpose. Aries provides momentum and boldness, proving that ideas mean nothing without execution. And Leo provides charisma and warmth, showing Gemini that connection isn't just about intellect, it's about emotion. In return, Gemini gives each of these partners something equally vital. To Libra, they bring spontaneity and creative chaos, the necessary sparks that prevent stagnation. To Aquarius, they offer relatability, the human touch that turns idealism into movement. To Aries, they bring strategy, the ability to communicate powerfully and win hearts while winning battles. And to Leo, they offer flexibility, a reminder that adaptability can coexist with confidence. Gemini amplifies what already exists, transforming potential into performance. In business, chemistry matters as much as competence, and Gemini's partnerships succeed because they thrive on interaction. They understand that collaboration isn't about dominance or control, it's about rhythm, the give and take that makes both parties sharper. With the right partner, Gemini doesn't just work with someone, they work through them, creating something neither could achieve alone. Their connections feel alive, constantly evolving, mirroring Gemini's own restless intelligence. Yet, even in these ideal pairings, the key ingredient is mutual respect. Gemini must value their partner's stability as much as their own creativity. They must learn to slow down long enough for the partnership to catch up. Likewise, their partners must embrace Gemini's unpredictability not as chaos, but as a sign of growth, the constant evolution that keeps their ventures fresh and forward-moving. When this understanding exists, the results are electric. Businesses that not only succeed but inspire, teams that not only produce but innovate, and partnerships that feel like dance, one leading, one following, both in perfect sync. Ultimately, Gemini's best business relationships remind us that success is rarely a solo act. It's a dialogue between vision and action, chaos and structure, air and fire. And when Gemini finds their counterpart, when their boundless ideas meet someone who knows how to build them into reality, the result isn't just success. It's alchemy, the transformation of imagination into legacy. The tough matches, signs that challenge Gemini's flow. Even for someone as adaptable and charming as Gemini, not every partnership feels effortless. In business, chemistry is complex, and for Gemini, whose rhythm is fast, fluid, and intellectually restless, certain zodiac energies can feel like sandpaper against silk. These partnerships aren't doomed, but they do require intention, awareness, and a willingness to bridge fundamental differences. Where some signs move with intuition and air, others are grounded, methodical, or deeply emotional. The friction between them and Gemini can create tension, but also transformation. Growth rarely happens in comfort, and for Gemini, the toughest matches are often the greatest teachers. Virgo is the first and perhaps the most quietly challenging counterpart. Both are ruled by Mercury, the planet of intellect and communication, but they express its energy in completely opposite ways. Gemini embodies Mercury's airy side, quick, versatile, curious, untethered. Virgo channels its earthy precision, practical, methodical, meticulous. When these two collaborate in business, they speak the same language but in different dialects. Gemini wants to brainstorm, ideate, and move fast. Virgo wants to analyze, structure, and perfect. To Gemini, Virgo's obsession with detail can feel suffocating, like trying to run through molasses. To Virgo, Gemini's spontaneity can seem careless, even chaotic. The tension comes from tempo. Gemini's brilliance unfolds in motion, while Virgo's mastery thrives in control. Yet beneath this friction lies incredible potential. Virgo can teach Gemini the art of refinement, that innovation isn't just about generating ideas but about sculpting them into something sustainable. Gemini, in turn, shows Virgo that perfection can paralyze progress and that sometimes, a bold leap yields more insight than endless analysis. Their success depends on respect for rhythm. If Gemini learns to slow down enough for Virgo to build the structure, and Virgo learns to let go enough to allow for play, their partnership can evolve into something extraordinary. A balance between speed and substance, creativity and craft. Capricorn presents a different challenge. one rooted not in communication, but in philosophy. Where Gemini is freedom embodied, Capricorn is discipline personified. Capricorn measures success in milestones, timelines, and tangible results. Gemini measures it in learning, connection, and momentum. To Capricorn, Gemini's ever-changing interests can look like lack of direction. To Gemini, Capricorn's rigid planning feels like a cage. The clash comes from pacing and priorities. Capricorn climbs mountains one steady step at a time. Gemini flies over landscapes in search of the next horizon. In a business partnership, this difference can be both maddening and miraculous. Capricorn brings long-term vision and structure, the kind that turns startups into legacies. Gemini brings adaptability and communication, the kind that keeps those legacies relevant in changing times. But for the relationship to thrive, both must compromise. Gemini needs to respect Capricorn's need for stability and tangible progress, while Capricorn must allow Gemini the freedom to experiment without immediate results. If Gemini rushes too far ahead, Capricorn feels ignored. If Capricorn moves too slowly, Gemini feels trapped. The sweet spot lies in synergy, where Gemini's innovation feeds Capricorn's ambition, and Capricorn's discipline anchors Gemini's energy. It's not an easy dance, but when done right, it's an empire-building one. Then comes Scorpio, the sign of intensity, secrecy, and transformation. For Gemini, whose default setting is light, curious, and socially transparent, Scorpio's depth can feel overwhelming. Scorpio operates in the shadows, preferring control and emotional precision. Gemini lives in the open, thriving on variety, conversation, and freedom. To Scorpio, Gemini's lightness can seem superficial. To Gemini, Scorpio's intensity feels suffocating. Their business dynamic often revolves around power and privacy. Scorpio guards strategy like a vault, while Gemini wants to share ideas freely. Misunderstandings arise not because they disagree on goals, but because they differ in how they connect. Yet when they learn to trust each other, the results are electric. Scorpio gives Gemini the courage to go deeper, to focus, commit, and explore ideas beyond surface level. Gemini, in turn, shows Scorpio the power of levity, that not every move needs to be a secret or a struggle. Together, they can balance intuition with intellect, emotion with expression. Scorpio teaches Gemini to own their power. Gemini teaches Scorpio to loosen their grip. Their business relationship can be volatile, yes, but it can also be profoundly transformative. If they can merge Scorpio's strategic depth with Gemini's communicative brilliance, they can build something unshakable, driven by insight and influence. Finally, there's Taurus, the immovable force meeting the unstoppable breeze. Taurus is the sign of stability, patience, and tangible value. They crave predictability and consistency, the very traits Gemini finds confining. Gemini thrives in the new. Taurus thrives in the known. In business, this often manifests as frustration. Gemini wants to pivot, experiment, and innovate, while Taurus wants to maintain what works and build security over time. To Taurus, Gemini's constant change can seem unreliable. To Gemini, Taurus's steadiness can feel like stagnation. Their conflict isn't personal, it's elemental. Air moves, earth holds. Still, when they find common ground, they can complement each other beautifully. Taurus grounds Gemini's whirlwind with patience and practicality, ensuring that great ideas don't evaporate before becoming profitable. Gemini brings Taurus a sense of renewal, teaching them that growth sometimes requires risk and reinvention. The key to their success lies in rhythm, finding a shared pace between Taurus's slow and steady and Gemini's fast and furious. If they learn to appreciate each other's tempo, they can create something enduring yet dynamic, businesses that evolve with purpose instead of chaos. Across all these tough matches, one truth remains constant: friction fuels growth. Virgo teaches Gemini refinement. Capricorn teaches discipline. Scorpio teaches depth. Taurus teaches patience. Each of these partnerships mirrors back to Gemini the qualities they struggle to embody but secretly need to master. Without Virgo, Gemini might never learn to complete. Without Capricorn, they might never learn to plan. Without Scorpio, they might never learn to commit. Without Taurus, they might never learn to rest. What makes these matches powerful isn't their comfort, it's their contrast. They challenge Gemini to evolve from a restless idea generator into a wise strategist, from a talker into a doer, from a dreamer into a builder. And while these alliances may demand more communication, patience, and compromise, they often produce results that easy partnerships never could. Because when air meets resistance, it doesn't disappear. It sharpens, it learns to navigate, it finds new directions. For Gemini, that's the hidden blessing within the challenge. Every tough partnership becomes a masterclass in balance. Each one adds a layer of strength to their natural flexibility. In business, as in life, Gemini learns that brilliance isn't just about motion, it's about mastery. And sometimes, the signs that slow their flow are the very ones that help them build something that lasts. The Gemini legacy, reinventing the rules of success. Gemini's true legacy in business isn't just their charisma or communication, it's their relentless reinvention. They don't merely adapt to change, they embody it. While others cling to tradition, Gemini asks the question that keeps industries alive: why not? They are the rule breakers who turn markets upside down, the innovators who take what's ordinary and twist it into something extraordinary. Their genius lies not in repetition but in reimagination, in seeing patterns where others see problems, in rewriting scripts that the world assumed were permanent. For Gemini, success is never static. It's not a mountain to be conquered once, it's a landscape to be redrawn again and again. They see achievement not as a finish line but as a moving horizon. In business, this mindset makes them unstoppable. They understand that what works today might be obsolete tomorrow, so they stay in motion, evolving, experimenting again. Their ideas never sit still because their minds never do. They live in a perpetual state of curiosity, scanning the world like radar for what's next. And when they find it, they don't just join the wave, they create the current that moves it. This gift of reinvention means that Gemini rarely fears failure. To them, failure isn't a verdict, it's raw material. When something falls apart, they don't crumble, they rebrand. They pivot faster than most can process, turning setbacks into setups for their next big move. Think of the Gemini entrepreneur who launches a company that doesn't catch fire, so they reshape it, rename it, and suddenly it's everywhere. They understand something essential about the modern business world: attention is fluid and identity is flexible. Reinvention isn't just survival, it's strategy. Their story is one of comebacks, each more ingenious than the last. Where others see the end of a chapter, Gemini sees the chance to rewrite the book. They'll take an idea that failed and reframe it so effectively that people forget it ever stumbled. Their power lies in reframing narratives, both for themselves and for their audiences. It's not denial, it's evolution. They intuitively grasp that perception is everything, and in business, perception can be remade with the right words, timing, and flair. If life gives them a plot twist, Gemini becomes the editor-in-chief. What truly sets Gemini apart is how they redefine success itself. They don't measure it by the conventional markers, titles, numbers, or status. For them, success means freedom, the ability to think, move, and create without constraint. They thrive in the unknown because the unknown is where they can invent. The Gemini executive who leaves a corporate job to start a podcast, the marketer who becomes a filmmaker, the coder who launches a lifestyle brand, they aren't scattered. They're multidimensional. Their curiosity isn't a distraction, it's diversification. In a world obsessed with specialization, Gemini reminds us that versatility is its own kind of mastery. This reinvention extends to the way Gemini leads. They're not traditional bosses, they're catalysts. They inspire teams by making work feel like discovery, not duty. Their offices, whether physical or virtual, hum with ideas, laughter, and that signature Gemini spark that makes even deadlines feel like creative sprints. They encourage flexibility, celebrate innovation, and challenge the status quo. Employees under a Gemini leader often describe the experience as thrilling, chaotic, maybe, but never dull. Because Gemini doesn't lead with fear or rigidity, they lead with curiosity and courage. They don't demand loyalty to systems, they invite loyalty to vision. And that vision is often ahead of its time. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the planet of technology, communication, and intellect, the same forces driving the future of business. It's no coincidence that Geminis tend to excel in fields that evolve rapidly: media, marketing, entertainment, tech, and now AI. Their comfort with change makes them natural pioneers in digital spaces. They understand intuitively that as automation and algorithms reshape industries, human adaptability becomes the ultimate asset. Where others resist innovation, Gemini dances with it. They don't just use tools, they converse with them, adapting faster than the systems themselves. Gemini's legacy, then, isn't just about success, it's about evolution. They prove that in the modern age, longevity belongs not to the strongest or even the smartest, but to the most fluid. Their ability to reinvent gives them eternal youth in business, an ageless relevance that outlasts trends. They're the CEOs who reinvent their companies every few years, the creators who transform with every platform shift, the thinkers who never stop questioning. While others protect what they've built, Gemini rebuilds it before it decays, faster, sharper, better. This quality also makes them cultural barometers. They don't just follow public sentiment, they anticipate it. They can sense shifts in tone, desire, and language long before they reach the mainstream. It's why many of them thrive in branding, marketing, and media. They feel what people are about to want. They instinctively translate the intangible mood of society into products, movements, and messages that resonate. They understand that success today isn't about predicting the future, it's about creating it through connection. Yet, beneath their speed and adaptability lies a deeper wisdom. Reinvention, for Gemini, isn't about escape, it's about evolution. Each version of themselves builds on the last. Every pivot carries the echoes of what came before. That's why, no matter how often they change, there's always a thread of authenticity running through their journey, that unmistakable Gemini voice that says, "I'm not finished exploring yet." In a culture obsessed with finality, Gemini reminds us that reinvention isn't a phase, it's a lifestyle. Success, to them, is a verb, not a noun, a constant act of becoming. In the grand narrative of business, Gemini will always be the storyteller, the strategist, the shapeshifter who refuses to sit still. They will continue to blur boundaries between art and commerce, logic and intuition, tradition and innovation. Their legacy will not be measured by a single company or creation, but by the movement they embody, a philosophy of flexibility, curiosity, and fearless experimentation. They are proof that intelligence is not about having all the answers but about asking better questions, endlessly, playfully, courageously. As the next generation redefines the meaning of success, not as stability but as adaptability, not as status but as evolution, they are following a trail Gemini blazed long ago. Because Gemini has always known what the world is only now learning, that to stay relevant, you must be willing to reinvent. Again and again, line by witty, strategic line. Gemini teaches us a crucial truth: success doesn't belong to the strongest or even the smartest, it belongs to the most adaptable. And if there's one sign that embodies that philosophy to perfection, it's the ever-changing, ever-talking, ever-creating Gemini, the sign that never stops moving, dreaming, and reinventing what's possible.